By the time this video is over, you'll probably yawn at least once or twice. In fact, you might even be yawning right now. But why? Why do humans yawn at all? And why is it so strangely contagious that simply hearing the word yawn, or even watching someone else do it, makes us do it too? Yawning is one of the most ordinary things we do, but behind it lies a mystery that scientists are still trying to fully understand. And the theories about yawning will take us from brain cooling to hidden communication to strange ways our body mirror each other without realizing it. So let's dive in. Why do we yawn, and why can't we stop ourselves from copying other people when they do it too? At its most basic, yawn is a slow, deep inhale through the mouth, followed by a shorter exhale. During a yawn, your jaw stretches wide, your eyes often close, and sometimes you even stretch your arms and shoulders at the same time. On average, a single yawn lasts about 6 seconds, and here's the funny part: you'll yawn thousands of times in your life, but most of us never think twice about why. It's such a small, everyday act, yet it has fascinated scientists for centuries. The most popular explanation you may have heard is this: yawning happens because your body needs more oxygen. The idea goes that when your brain detects low oxygen levels, it triggers a yawn to bring more air in. Sounds logical, right? The problem is, studies actually don't back it up. Experiments have shown that increasing oxygen in the air doesn't make people yawn less, or lowering oxygen doesn't make people yawn more. So if it's not about oxygen, what's going on? One of the most convincing modern theories is that yawning helps cool down your brain. When you yawn, you draw in a big gulp of air. That cool air circulates through your sinus cavities and around blood vessels in your head. At the same time, the stretching of your jaw and face muscles increases blood flow, which helps release heat. In other words, yawning may work like a built-in air conditioning system for your brain. This could explain why people often yawn when they're tired. As your brain gets drowsy, it tends to overheat slightly. A yawn helps regulate its temperature, keeping it in an optimal state. It could also explain why people yawn more in certain environments, like when you move from a warm room into cool air, or when you've been sitting still and your brain needs a refresh. But brain cooling isn't the only possible answer. Another widely accepted idea is that yawning acts as a traditional signal for your body. Think about when yawns happen most often: just before you fall asleep, right after you wake up, during long stretches of boredom when your alertness is fading. In each of these cases, your body is shifting between states, from alert to drowsy, or from tired to awake. A yawn could be your nervous system's way of flipping that switch, preparing your body for what's next. That also might explain why yawning is linked to stretching. Both yawning and stretching are ways your body resets itself when it needs to adjust to a new state. But now let's get to the strangest part: contagious yawning. You know how it works. Someone in the room yawns and suddenly you feel the urge to. Sometimes just hearing the word yawn is enough. And right now, as I keep saying it and you keep thinking about yawning, chances are you've already done it. But why is yawning contagious? One theory is that it's tied to social bonding and empathy. Researchers have found that contagious yawning happens more often between people who know each other well: family, close friends, even teammates. You're less likely to catch a yawn from a stranger than from someone you trust. The idea here is that yawning spread through groups as a kind of unspoken communication. If one member of a group was tired, bored, or about to fall asleep, yawning could signal that state to others. In turn, Everyone yawning together might have helped synchronized behavior, like in the group resting at the same time or staying alert at the same time. In modern life, we don't need to synchronize sleep cycles with the tribe, but the reflex may still be deeply wired into our brains. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Studies show that people who are more empathetic, meaning they can easily understand and share feelings of others, are more likely to catch contagious yawns. On the flip side, people with lower levels of empathy, such as young children or individuals on the autism spectrum, tend to be less affected. That suggests contagious yawning may actually be a byproduct of our brain's mirror neuron system, the part of the brain that makes us mimic others, helping us connect socially. In other words, yawning when someone else yawns might be your brain's way of saying, I see you, I feel you, and I'm in sync with you. Humans aren't the only species that yawn. Almost every vertebrate studied, from fish to birds to mammals, show some version of yawning. And interestingly, contagious yawning isn't unique to us either. It's been observed in chimpanzees, dogs, and even parakeets. In fact, dogs are more likely to catch a yawn from their owners than from other dogs, suggesting the bond between species can even play a role. This further supports the idea that yawning has a deep social function, a kind of hidden language that crosses both species and contexts. Here are a few more strange facts that keep scientists puzzled. We yawn more when we're trying to stay awake than when we're about to fall asleep. Yawning can actually increase alertness temporarily, almost like hitting a biological reset button. And professional athletes have reported yawning before major competitions, not because they're bored, but because their bodies are preparing for high stress performance. All of this points to one thing. Yawning is much more complex than a sign of tiredness. Put all the evidence together and here's what we know. Yawning may help cool the brain and regulate its temperature. It may act as a reset signal during state changes like walking or falling asleep. It may spread socially as a form of empathy and group communication. And it might even play a role in sharpening alertness when we need it most. As ordinary as yawning seems, it's a perfect example of how something small and everyday can hold layers of fascinating meaning. So the next time you yawn, whether it's from tiredness, boredom, or because you just saw someone else do it, remember, your body is doing something far more intriguing than you think. And if you yawned even once during this video, well, I guess that's proof of how contagious it really is. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.